Alright guys, how you doing? It's Rabea, I hope you're all good. This video is all about a little pedalboard build that I was messing around with yesterday after I got inspired watching some That Pedal Show videos. If you don't know Mick and Dan, very good friends of mine, they have a channel called That Pedal Show, and if you ever want to geek out about tone, guitar tones, pedal tones, amp tones from the top shelf gear, that's the channel to go and check out. So I highly recommend if you've not heard of them before, but I'm sure you have. Anyway, I got inspired by watching some of their videos, as I said, and recently Yanis from Jam Pedals got in touch with me and asked me if I wanted to check out the brand new Harmonious Monk that they'd worked on in association with Dan and Mick from That Pedal Show. It's a harmonic tremolo, and of course, if Dan and Mick have a hand in it, not to mention that Jam Pedals are also really good, and I've used them all over the place on recordings and done videos for those guys for years. I was like, yeah, I'm absolutely going to check this out. Just to say, this is a sponsored video in association with Jam Pedals, who've sent this pedal across. The purpose of this video is for me to check it out, play some tones, have a load of fun with it, and yeah, that's basically it. Any opinions about this pedal I have are at the end of the video, and they're just my own. Just need to let you guys know that. So the Harmonious Monk, as I said, is a harmonic tremolo. I don't have a lot of experience with this kind of tone, but I really like the way it sounds. Basically, a tremolo, you have two different kinds. You have amplitude tremolo and harmonic tremolo. Amplitude is where you hear it get louder and quieter, like on a classic Fender amplifier or something like that, or even the V140 from Victory has a tremolo built in, and it's where you hear it pulsating in volume. That's amplitude tremolo. Harmonic tremolo, I believe, is a different type of, it's like phase modulation, so it sounds part of the sound, so you don't really hear like the volume as such as drastic, more as like a phasey kind of modulated tremolo sound, which is really nice whether you use it with a drive, a fuzz, reverb and delay on a nice Strat, which is basically what we're going to do in this video. So you should be able to see the close-up of the pedal now. A super simple layout, small footprint pedal, but the controls are from top left to bottom right. You've got depth, speed, level and mix, and then you've got two toggle switches. The one in the middle is for whether you want quite an intense tremolo effect or a subtle tremolo effect, so you've got the intensity there. And then the bottom toggle switch allows you to switch between harmonic tremolo and amplitude tremolo. So you've got two different types of tremolo in one on this pedal. The foot switches, bottom left, it changes the speed from fast to slow, and then bottom right turns the pedal on and off. It's also worth pointing out that this pedal has three internal trim pots for EQ, bass, mid and treble. Mick and Dan said it's tuned exactly how they like it out of the factory, but if you wanted to change that, depending on the rig you're running, you would just open it up and tweak those. But I'm just going to leave it as it is because it already sounds great before I started shooting this video. So check out the pedal board on the ground here. I built this yesterday, and it's, like I said, it's designed around the Harmonious Monk. I'm going to be using a Fender Strat, and the amp we're using is a Victory Super Kraken on the clean channel. We're just going to use the clean channel for this video. So a quick bit about the pedal board. In the loop, I've got the MXR clone looper. I'm using the ARP87 and the Fathom from Walrus Audio. And then in the front, we've got the Revival drive, and then we get from Origin Effects. Then we go into the Bender 1973 London Fuzz, which is from JHS Pedals. It's part of their legendary fuzz range. And then, of course, we've got the Jam Pedals Harmonious Monk. And I've decided to put the drive pedals in front of it, before it even, should I say, because I just think that sounds better to me. I really enjoyed the way it sounded when I was messing with it yesterday. So let me show you the tone before we get stuck into the pedal itself. This is the clean channel with the gain ran quite high, so there's a bit of hair on it, but this is crack and clean. So that's a great clean tone. Let's just go ahead and play with the Harmonious Monk. As you might be able to see, I've got it set to harmonic mode in subtle setting, and apart from that, you can see the controls as they are. So here we go. This is how it sounds. So that's the tone that I had messing around with before shooting this video, and I thought I'd just show you how it sounds before we start messing with the settings and hearing what this pedal can do. I just really like the way that sounded. Let's mess around with it. So we'll start in its classic setting, which would be amplitude tremolo, just so that you can hear the difference between amplitude and harmonic. So this is how amplitude tremolo would sound. So you can quite clearly hear that it's getting louder and quieter, which is classically amplitude tremolo, but it's a really nice kind of sweep in that sense. It's really smooth. In any case, let's mess around with it a bit more. You can get all sorts of cool sounds with this, choppy in terms of putting the mix all the way up. You'll see what I mean. Which sounds really cool, and if you throw a reverb and delay on that, so it's quite intense, but take the mix a bit down. That's the kind of, amplitude tremolo as you'd expect, but what I'm really excited about is messing around with the harmonic tremolo and playing with some of the other tones. Something else to point out is that Dan and Mick wanted this pedal to have a level control so that you could be at unity gain and you could boost it or cut it from that, because apparently a lot of other harmonic tremolos pulsate above and below unity gain quite a lot or something, so they wanted to make sure you had more control over that depending on the rig you're running, which is cool. As you can see, the settings are on the pedal board, and this is what we've got going in. Okay, so let's have a listen to the reference tone again. And now this is the settings, as you can see on the pedal, in harmonic mode. So I like the way that you can use it for both chords and lead. Like it's a nice sound that you kind of want there. If I take it off, it's a nice sound, but it's almost like you miss it being there. Sounds cool. So this is the sound I've got currently that I'm enjoying. And what I want to do is do the opposite of that. That's like a nice subtle harmonic tremolo vibe for me. So let's put it in intense mode and just, I don't know, mess around. So you can hear the shape has changed a lot there. But if you take the mix down, it gives you a different kind of pulsating feel. It's not quite as vibey, it's more like a supported rhythmic pad almost. With some reverb and delay. So even in a more subtle, even though you've got it in the intense mode, when you dial back the mix, it just gives you a bit more movement in the sound. Like I said, I've not really come across harmonic tremolos a lot. And I sometimes with modulation effects feel like they're supposed to be a really obvious effect that you're throwing in. But actually, the subtlety of this is something that I'm quite warming to. Okay, let's start messing with the pedal board, as it were, now that we've heard the kind of variation of effects we can get out of the Harmonious Monk. Yeah, here we go. So this is... That's the clean. Now with the revival drive. So let's throw on the Harmonious Monk. It adds like a really nice movement to what you're playing. Some notes really catch that sweep and it sounds like you're really giving it some. It's great. I'm loving the way that sounds. Let's throw on some fuzz. So if I take it off, now check out what it sounds like. It's not quite as intense. Straight back on. So with the fuzz, it sounds really cool too. I mean, you've got loads of options here where you can add it to different things. What's nice is having those drives in front, the way it sort of mixes into the sound. Really, really cool. Yes, it's a good effect for getting lost in sound. Like it definitely adds movement and feel to everything. It's really nice. I definitely got into that a little bit. It's kind of again, it seems to be the way whenever I sort of do a video of a jam pedal, it always makes me want to like jam songs and write and vibe out on the kind of the more musical application of the effect that I'm taking a look at. And this is no exception. It's, you know, obviously the Harmonious Monk is designed around the tastes of Dan and Mick and their harmonic tremolo vibes and all the rest of it. But honestly, it sits so nicely in the kind of, in this pedalboard even, it just really adds something to the sound that I guess what I describe it as is movement. It gives you a sort of movement in the sound that when you're playing on your own is really satisfying, and it sort of becomes more all-encompassing, and yeah, I'm into it. I'm really enjoying that. That would kind of conclude this video. I hope it hasn't been too long. I definitely got carried away, so there's a lot for John to have to probably sift through there. I'm sorry about that, dude. But in terms of the pedalboard rig that I'd set up for this video, I'm really chuffed with it, considering it's just reverb and delay, then we've got a drive, a fuzz, and the Harmonious Monk. Like, I would happily, and obviously the looper, which we didn't really use, but, you know, if I was going in to a gig where I was playing dirty blues, any of this stuff that I do with Hannah and, you know, the Universal Audio videos we've done in the past, I would use a rig like this. I think it would work really nicely, and I'd definitely put that pedal on there for the way I was getting into it and the sounds that it was giving back. I can only imagine through a cabinet in a room. That is just awesome. But of course, that's my opinion. So what do I think of this pedal? Well, considering I'd never really tried a harmonic tremolo before, and I've never really been drawn towards tremolos. I'm not a huge fan of your classic amplitude tremolo. I find that it's an effect that a lot of people sound great with, and it's a really traditional, great sounding effect, but not one that I really enjoy playing with as such. Yeah, basically, like Mick and Dan said in their video on this, they didn't really know much about harmonic tremolos, and neither do I. But yeah, all I can say is I like that a lot more than a standard amplitude tremolo. So the Harmonious Monk for the job that it does, I've really enjoyed the way it sounded, especially with the pedals that I've used it with. And again, super easy to use. There's not a lot going on in terms of control layout, so it's quite easy to get your head around and dial in a tone nice and quick. And like always, the Jam Pedals graphics are always fun. They're always really playful, and it almost makes you want to play with the pedal in that kind of way. And that might sound a bit random and hippy-dippy, but genuinely, I always enjoy messing around and tinkering with Jam Pedals. But that would conclude this video. Those are my opinions, so I'd like to know what you think in the comment section below. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed the tones, and I'm going to keep this pedalboard set up for a bit, I think. But thank you to Jam Pedals for sending this across. Thank you to Mick and Dan for collaborating with Jam and creating this wicked pedal. And of course, for all your help and awesome expertise and just generally wicked tonage from That Pedal Show's YouTube channel. I'll link that in the description box below, as well as my own YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and all the rest of it. But until next time, I've been Rabea, and I will see you all very soon.